Don't worry, Monado Monday stream is still gonna happen today. Just keep in mind that it's going to be a side questy one, although it's going to be the most important side quest in the game. Also, the nominations for the 2018 Game Awards have come out today. And, as you may guess from the title, Xenoblade 2 got completely and totally robbed! Yay! So, you will notice the Best RPG category is a thing that exists. It's called role-playing game, but, you know, that stands for RPGs. And most of the genre categories specifically have 5 to 6 nominations. I believe genre categories have only 5, and Game of the Year has 6. Yeah, genre categories have only 5. Best RPG, the nominees are Dragon Quest XI, Ni no Kuni 2, Octopath Traveler, Pillars of Eternity 2, and Monster Hunter World. Alright, so I expected wholeheartedly, just straight from the beginning, that Best Role-Playing Game for 2018, the nominees would include Xenoblade 2, but Dragon Quest XI would win because just popularity and it also being a really, really solid title. I don't think Ni no Kuni 2 reviewed as well as the original one, so I wasn't expecting it to go very far. But the big thing is, Monster Hunter World. I don't consider that an RPG to begin with. Like, I already considered the Monster Hunter series as a whole action RPGs. And Monster Hunter is the least, World is the least RPG-y Monster Hunter in the series. So, The thing with that is, you could probably swap out Ni no Kuni or Octopath for Xenoblade, first off. But, second off, this is going to turn into a Game Awards rant for a few minutes. The genre awards are kind of terrible. There aren't enough genres, and there isn't a wide enough net cast by the genres there are. The genre awards are Best Action Game, Best Action Adventure, Best RPG, Best Fighting Game, then Best Family Game, Best Strategy Game, Best Sports, Best Multiplayer, and that's it. So you might be seeing a few problems here. Best Family Game and Best Multiplayer can kind of overlap, but then you've got Best Action and Best Action/Adventure. Where's shooters? That's a problem. Like, the Best Action nominees are Dead Cells, Far Cry 5, Mega Man 11, Call of Duty, and Destiny 2 Forsaken. Let's see. Are Mega Man and Call of Duty the same genre? No, they're not. There is no shooter genre nomination. Let's see, there's also no puzzle genre nomination, which is a lot more niche, so that's a bit expected. But at the same time, puzzle games are a big thing. They really should be represented as well as they are. Then you got Best Action Adventure, which honestly is the action RPG category, because it's got Assassin's Creed Odyssey and God of War. Like, Red Dead, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Spider-Man, those all make sense to be action adventure. But I'd also put Monster Hunter World in that category if action RPG isn't on its own. See, I'm going to get really cynical here. The Game of the Year nominees, if you scroll all the way up to the top, are Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, Celeste, and Monster Hunter. Now, I'm not saying I expected Xenoblade to be nominated for Game of the Year. I'm not that insane. I expected it to get nominated for Best RPG because, you know, it was actually the best RPG that released in the last year. So, let's take a look at where all the Game of the Year nominees are. In Best Action Game, you've got... Actually, none of them are in Best Action Game. Best Action Adventure, Assassin's Creed, and God of War and Spider-Man are all in Best Action Adventure nominees. Role-playing game, Monster Hunter is there. Fighting game is none of them. Is Red Dead in one of them too? I don't think it is. Oh, yes it is. Best Action Adventure. 4 of the nominees are 4 of the 6 Game of the Year nominees. So, that's pretty good. Let's see. Celeste isn't in any of the genre awards, I guess because there's no platformer. You'd think that there'd be a platformer one too. Celeste is obviously in under Best Indie Game, and I'd be very surprised if it didn't win that, even if it doesn't get Game of the Year. And then Monster Hunter is in Best Action Adventure. So, no, Monster Hunter is the best RPG. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So let's think about this. Obviously, there's going to be 6 Game of the Year contenders and only one can win that. But you don't want to snub all the big name games that you got to nominate for Game of the Year. So you're going to try to get them to win the genre awards. Now, regardless, I'm pretty sure Celeste is going to win Best Indie Game. And unfortunately, oh no, you put 4 of the Game of the Year nominees in Best Action Adventure, which to me says that one of those 4 is going to win. Everyone's saying it's probably Red Dead. Yeah, I'm going to put my money in that jar of cowboy. I don't know. But, okay. You got to have Monster Hunter win something. It's an action adventure game, but oh no. It's not... There are already a bunch of nominees in action adventure. Can't put it in action because it's too RPG-y for that. So let's just put it in RPG. No one's gonna care. It'll just win that. No one cares about that genre. That's the way I see it because I'm looking at it really cynically. Like, this isn't even to trash on Monster Hunter. I played World. I enjoyed it. I stopped partway through the main story because I was just getting bored of doing it single player only, and I don't have friends who have PS4s. I might get one of the Switch games if I have friends who play it and like do that with them because I feel like the multiplayer is a strong aspect of the series that I just didn't get playing it alone. But let's see. So that's just kind of the why is Monster Hunter in the wrong category rant / genre awards are stupid rant. But I hit my pop filter. I'm sorry. Let's look at some other things. Best mobile game is another genre, and that makes sense. There's going to be awards for best mobile game because mobile games are a huge thing whether you like them or not, and it makes sense to like talk about them and honor the ones that do well. So the nominees are Reigns Game of Thrones, Donut County, Florence, Fortnite, which Fortnite's probably going to win at least one thing. I think best ongoing game, it's in there too. And then PUBG Mobile. Do you see the problem with that? PUBG was nominated for multiple awards last year, including Game of the Year. They nominated it a second year in a row. And if you go to Best Fighting Game, obviously Smash isn't going to be in there because it releases the day after. Where is the fighting game section? It's in here somewhere. I think I scrolled too far. Fighting game. There we go. Cross Tag Battle, Dragon Ball Fighter, Soul Calibur 6, and then Street Fighter V Arcade. Regular Street Fighter V was already nominated, I think, the year after it came out. So, yeah, apparently there weren't enough good fighting games that released this year, so in order to pad out the list, they just put a game that had already been nominated again. Because, you know, that's fair. But back to the Xenoblade thing. You might be thinking, okay, Xenoblade 2, it came out in 2017, so shouldn't it be nominated for the 2017 awards? Well, that's not the case, because it came out December 1st, 2017, and that was well after the nomination period ended, so it makes sense that it wouldn't be on the list there. I don't think anyone expected it to be there. However, games that release after nominations are still eligible for the next year. And it didn't show up the next year. And you know why I know RPGs that released after the nominations closed are eligible for the next year? Because Xenoblade Chronicles X came out in 2015 and got nominated in 2016 for Best RPG. And you know the weird part about that? The nominations are chosen by a bunch of journalists that are each selected and they make their picks and stuff. Xenoblade Chronicles X is also a fantastic game, and in my opinion was the best RPG and best video game of 2016. But it's also a much harder sell to journalists than Xenoblade 2 was. So it's extra egregious that 2 didn't show up there, because X is so much less likely to get love from journalists than 2, just because of the type of game it is. Not anything indicative of its actual quality, and yet it was the one that got the nomination over 2. And I thought 2 was actually going to have, until I remember Dragon Quest came out this year, I thought 2 was actually going to have a decent chance of winning, because it threaded that needle in between Persona 5 / Final Fantasy 15 on the 2016 end, and then, whatchamacallit, Kingdom Hearts 3 on the 2019 end. So it, like, just kind of sneaked in there where it would actually make sense to win. But then, obviously, once I realized Dragon Quest came out, yeah, Dragon Quest makes sense. I would be fine with giving Dragon Quest the win, even though I haven't played it yet. But, yeah, I don't really know what to say other than it got really, really robbed. And there's no legitimate reason for it not getting the nomination over, like, I want to say get rid of Ni no Kuni or Octopath. I feel like Octopath deserves to be there more just in terms of its significance to the genre and to the RPG landscape as a whole over Ni no Kuni, but I've never played either Ni no Kuni game, so I'm not gonna... I'm just going based on general consensus that it wasn't as good as the first one, which I do think got a nomination its year, so it would be deserving of one less, so I don't know, that's my thought process. But at the same time, Octopath means a lot to a lot of people, it means a lot for the genre, and it's indicative that Nintendo is finally coming back to JRPGs as a whole. Like, remember the NES and SNES era? Nintendo was the place to go to, like, get good JRPGs. So it means a lot to the genre, and it also is good, so that's fine. But then we've also got the second snub. Now, I'm not saying it would get anything for acting or directing or that kind of thing, or story, because it's always Western games for that. But, let's see. Soundtrack. Best score music presented by Spotify. I've got some nominations there, too. Red Dead 2, God of War, Spider-Man, Ni no Kuni, Octopath, and Celeste. Wow, look at that. 4 of the nominations are also Game of the Year nominations. It's almost like they want to have each Game of the Year nomination to win at least one category before the big one, so nobody feels left out. They got nominated for Game of the Year, but didn't get anything. But Xenoblade 2 isn't there either. Yeah, that's about it. The only game that I haven't heard people praising the soundtrack of is Spider-Man, and I feel like Spider-Man's likely to win a bunch of other stuff anyway, so I feel like it's not likely to win this one, but come on! Like... Xenoblade 2 soundtrack is really good. Someone thought that X actually got nominated for soundtrack. No, it was Best RPG. Do you really think a bunch of lay people would be swayed towards voting for X in anything as a soundtrack? Like, X's soundtrack is great, but if you're a normie who hasn't played the game and the only songs you've heard about are the ones that were memed for being bad, you're not going to vote for that. So that makes sense. But, wow! 2 categories where Xenoblade 2 should have been, like, top 3 easy, even without my obvious bias, and it got snubbed on all accounts. So it's like, Game Awards bad. No watch them. But going back to my mobile game rant, not only did they reuse PUBG for this year, but in the past, mobile and handheld used to be considered the same thing. So first off, handheld games couldn't be considered in any of the larger or genre awards, which is stupid because some handheld games are really good, and I'm not just talking about Xenoblade 3D. They were also lumped in with mobile games. So, I'm gonna just look up 2017 nominees. I think it was still best mobile and handheld. Yes, best mobile and best handheld were split in 2017. So, let's see. Best mobile game was Monument Valley 2, Fire Emblem Heroes, Hidden Folks, Old Man's Journey, Super Mario Run, and then handheld was Samus Returns, Ever Oasis, Shadows of Valentia, Monster Hunter Stories, and Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, which I feel like, shouldn't really be there. But let's see, 2016. Look at 2016. 2016 was the really bad one. Because, where's mobile handheld? Mobile handheld. You got Pokemon Go, Clash Royale, obvious mobile games that, like, play like you'd expect a mobile game to, going up against Fire Emblem Fates and Monster Hunter Generations. That's completely not fair. And the fact that Pokemon Go beat Monster Hunter Generations is really sad too. Like, that's just not a thing. And, like, no platformer award, no shooter award. Like, I don't think many people took the Game Awards seriously to begin with. It's basically E3 Mini, and who really cares about the Game Awards this year? Because, hey, guess what? They're the night before Smash releases. We might get a Smash DLC character reveal, and, like, we're probably going to get a few interesting trailers from a bunch of different companies, so it's important for that, but I think if you're a Xenoblade fan, at least, you know that the Game Awards are a joke after this nomination season. So, Monado Monday's coming later. Other Xenoblade video coming this weekend. End of Monado Monday is probably coming next Monday. And then the floodgates will open because I got a bunch of Xenoblade 1 ending related stuff that I can talk about. So until next time, this is Luxon, signing off. Stay salty, my friends. Stay salty.